So this is a CENTCOM statement. On July 17th, 2 U.S. service members in Jordan were killed in action as U.S. Central Command and partner forces defend against Iranian ballistic missile and drone attacks. Additionally, one service member is currently missing. 4 American service members were medically evacuated to Jordanian hospitals. They have since been discharged. Other personnel who were evaluated for minor injuries have returned to duty. Out of respect for the families, CENTCOM will withhold additional information, including the identities of the fallen warriors, until 24 hours after the next of kin have been notified. So that's what's happening. And this, this is, there's going to be a lot happening in response to this. So tonight might be, you might be seeing a lot of military. I don't know if it's going to be tonight or tomorrow, but pretty soon we're going to see a major escalation in everything. And by the way, guys, also brace yourself for some really disgusting celebrations from the Islamic Republic, from the state TV, and from the supporters of the regime. Um, I predict a lot of major celebrations from their side, but honestly, if they knew what the response is going to be, they wouldn't be celebrating a second. And when they celebrate, you need to make them realize that there's no cause for celebration for them. This is going to be their funeral. So they need to learn that. That needs to be shown to them. Okay, so thank you, Sapir, again, by the way, for modding. Appreciate that.
No
Who's on the
problem.
list?
So first, Noah.
Yeah, um, this is hard. My condolences to the families of the soldiers who were killed. I also, um, I 100% agree. There needs to be retaliation, 100%, and we need to stop negotiating with these people. I wouldn't even call them people at this point. These savages. Um, if you kill an American soldier or an Israeli soldier for that matter, um, you need to pay. No more ceasefires. None. I'm, these people need to get their asses kicked. And sorry. Um, but yes, my condolences.
Thank you, Noah. Next one is me. Gotta say that I started to be pretty desensitized, unfortunately, for death. Got used to it way too much, unfortunately. I think that this is the real test. If the US doesn't respond, and when I mean respond, I mean heavily, then this will be like the ultimate proof for our enemies that we are weak, that they can do more. That, and like we said last time, there was the whole deal with how even supporters of the regime started to basically put a lot of pressure on the regime because they're like, you're not doing enough, you're too weak. This will appease a lot of them for a while, unless we do something substantial. So I don't even think it matters what we say, it's what we do that's going to decide the vibe around the Middle East. Next one is Helda.
Hi, Al. Can you hear me? I hope. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
You're very weak.
I also am very sorry to hear, the deaths of the soldiers, the lost soldier, the injured soldiers. And my thoughts and prayers go out to the family and friends of these individuals. I will say, after talking to some of my family this morning, who are heavily on the left, and this is prior to finding out about, these deaths. I am really, really concerned that this is going to cause the left to go even more feral and try to push even harder to stop, any sort of military action. I mean, I'm hoping that Trump holds, his line, holds the ground, along with those, like Rubio that supports him, and all of us that support him. And this action, I'm just really concerned with how the left is going to view this. I mean, number one, I think that we're going to have some that are actually going to celebrate. We've seen that before. But I also think that we're going to have some that are going to say, see what happens, we can't afford any more, troop deaths. And so I am a little bit worried about that. And that's about all I have to say.
Thank you. Now, Jose.
Okay. It's frustrating to me that we lose another 2, possibly a third with the missing person, and then 4 injured. And that, yeah, that's a tragedy for sure, especially for those families. But they weren't active combat soldiers. Again, this is an attack, and it was probably by a cluster bomb, because if it hit on the ground, you know that the interceptors that went up did not stop the full thing, just stopped the missile. So that's what I'm thinking. It's a cluster bomb. And if that's the case, that is an illegal weapon that even the United Nations declares an illegal weapon, but they want us to negotiate. As you well know, Armin, they want us to go back and negotiate. Well, guess what? There is no negotiating with a cult of people that believe that they want to bring the end of the world, and they all have to die before it. So as far as I'm concerned, kill them all.
Okay, thank you, Jose. Texas.
So on this topic, I kind of wanted to bring the family member of active duty military perspective. I feel like I have I'm uniquely qualified to talk about it, since I was a child dependent Navy brat my entire life, and then a spouse, and also a parent of active duty military. So what I wanted to talk about on this particular subject was that, and also I wanted to speak to Americans. So not because I'm excluding anybody else from any other nation, because I know that we have lots of support, but I want to speak to Americans, because what Americans, I think, don't realize is that only 6% of American citizens serve in the United States military in some capacity. Only 6%. So everyone else who does not serve has a duty, being a recipient of their service, to back up our military, back up these families, back up our president with this military action. Support it. And when you hear someone in your daily life, or you see comments online from these leftists who have, I guarantee you, have never freaking served, probably don't have family who has served, but want to weaponize these deaths for their own political purposes, for their own financial gain, because they know that when they go off, it draws even more viewers to their platforms and they make money off of this. They need to be shamed. They need to be addressed directly, and they need to be shamed, because they have never made the personal sacrifice themselves, ever. So they don't get a right to speak about it. Those of us who have served, who are Family members, direct family members of those who have served, extended family members of those who have served, we do have the right. We do have the right. We have earned the right to speak about this. Damn it, I didn't want to cry.
Thank you, Texas.
We need to address them directly and tell them to shut their freaking mouths.
Thank you, Texas, and I'm sorry for your loss. Next one is Monkey.
I wanted to highlight a different aspect of this. I want to talk about what's going on here. What's going on here is in Jordan, there's been 29 injuries. There's been no casualties, but we don't make light of their injuries because they are, working with us, brothers in arms, even if we're not working for the same nation, we have a common goal. In Bahrain, we have 51 injuries, 2 dead. Those are dead Bahrainians. In Kuwait, we have 187 injuries, 11 dead. Kuwaitis. United Arab Emirates has 246 injuries, 15 dead. Saudi Arabia has 17 dead, 23 injured. Qatar has 18 dead, 91 injured. Oman has 19 dead, 26 injured. And the United States has 16 dead, over 425 injured. So what I'm trying to say here is, even though we are speaking now about the loss of life for us, we must remember everyone in these nations that these are dead. Remember, your people are dying too. Your people are getting injured too. And they're all getting dead and injured by the same IRGC. So Iran, as the IRGC is doing what they're doing to Oman, to Qatar, to Saudi Arabia, to United Arab Emirates, to Kuwait, to Bahrain, and to Jordan. Jordan has fortunately not received any deaths, and that's a great thing. We don't want them to die. We have talked here many times about the loss, the incalculable loss that it is when a life is taken. So I want to bring that aspect out because there's a lot of people that have there's a lot of loss of life out there. So I want you to know that, you know what? Yeah, Americans died. That should have a retaliation. But every one of these nations should be retaliating alongside us because they are all getting dead and injured because of the IRGC. We should definitely retaliate, but it's not just us. There's a lot of death out there that's being caused by these people all over the Persian Gulf and even beyond, because Jordan is beyond the Persian Gulf. And they are getting injuries. This is something that it falls on our shoulders, but someone should come up and, share this burden with us because we're doing this for all these people's good. And they should, we will help you lift yourself up and you should come with us and we should do it together.
Thank you, Monkey. Now, Nets.
Okay, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
My condolences, of course, for the lost soldiers. I wanted to talk a little bit about the politics of it. I think that there is no way out of this other than for the regime to fall, for the IRGC to fall. And every time I say that, and I recommend kind of more aggressive things than the administration is doing, people tell me about the politics of it, and I mean I've heard that today from Halda. Oh, the leftists will make such a big deal out of these losses. They'll say that we we can't, I mean, we can't continue doing this because we're having losses. And my opinion is that though we meet lots of leftists and rightists on the internet, most Americans aren't really either leftists or rightists, and most of them are very patriotic people, and they need to have explained to them uh, that we have to get rid of this regime. I mean, I completely support what Monkey said. I mean, it doesn't have to be just the United States getting rid of the regime. We should get together as many allies as we can to get rid of the regime. But I think that if Americans are really, I mean, if a case is really being made to them that this is what we have to do, I think they will get behind it. And I've heard that there's a political cost to trying to get such a thing to happen, but that is maybe not looking enough steps ahead, because when it succeeds, I think there is a possible political benefit. And it's really sad that people have to die. Uh, but if if this could be used um, to to rally uh, to rally the U.S., then maybe they won't have died in vain.
Thank you, Nit. Jeffrey.
I'm going to touch on a couple of key points. One is in pushback to the regime remnants and their leftist allies' attempt at moral equivalency. That framing is objectively false. CENTCOM's July campaign publicly focused on regime remnants' military systems connected to attacks on commercial shipping, threats to mariners, missile and drone production operations, air defenses, command networks, coastal surveillance, weapons storage, logistics, and maritime strike capabilities. The regime remnants, true to their terrorist nature, responded by directing ballistic missiles and drones at U.S. and partner forces operating from the territory of another sovereign state indiscriminately. One side is dismantling military infrastructure, that would be us, used to attack shipping and threatening regional security. The regime remnants covertly is deliberately attempting to kill Americans and intimidate countries that host them, calling that merely a cycle obscures agency and responsibility. The regime remnants' remaining military leadership has made a decision. American service members are dead because of that decision. What is the strategic significance? American casualty threshold has been crossed. This attack moves the conflict beyond property damage, interstate salvos, and competing claims about destroyed equipment. Americans have been killed in action. Any response judged primarily by whether it avoids provoking the regime remnants further should invert the deterrence problem, or would invert the deterrence problem. The regime has already demonstrated escalation by launching weapons that killed Americans. The question is not whether the United States should avoid escalation. The question is whether the regime should be allowed to exist to repeat the attack. The regime retains meaningful strike capability because they're getting backfilled by the Putin's criminalized counterintelligence state and the Chinese Communist Party. Regional air defenses, while they are very much capable in and of themselves, are not sufficient to bring a meaningful pause or to the regime remnants' implacable, its continued threat to the region. Our Jordanian allies are now a frontline ally. Jordanian territory has been attacked because Jordan cooperates with the United States and prevents U.S. military action. The kingdom has intercepted Iranian missiles and absorbed the political and military risk of that support, and Sketch is very much right in that. Failure to punish attacks on Jordanian territory would weaken every American basing relationship in the region. Here's a more broader key issue. This attack tests American credibility everywhere. The implications exist beyond Iran, occupied by the ruler regime remnants, or the Persian Gulf. It directly applies to the Intermarium, as it's under consistent attack by Putin's criminalized counterintelligence state, the Chinese Communist Party's threat towards Taiwan, the North Korean regime, and other hostile actors, all of which will be observing whether killing Americans leads to the destruction of those responsible and the responsible military architecture, or merely produces another limited exchange following the appeals to restraint. The credibility of American deterrence is cumulative and global, not regional and separate. I would contend what is required is American strategic resolve, and that objective should manifest itself with a couple of key issues. The appropriate objective should not be another isolated retaliatory episode designed to merely demonstrate displeasure. It should be the destruction of the regime remnants' ability to contain sustained missile, drone, and maritime attacks, indeed the regime existence itself. That requires sustained discriminate campaign against military capabilities. I've outlined those target sets in detail in previous discussions and statements, and have outlined or mentioned 5x5 campaign as envisioned and designed by myself and supported by other hawks in the administration. These are not punitive targets for symbolism. The time for that is over. They are functioning, it is an active approach to kill the regime remnants and its functioning components they use to sit there and not only kill American soldiers and servicemen, to hold everybody in the region at risk. The simple strategic standard should be this: can the surviving the regime remnants apparatus still locate American bases, generate missile and drone salvos, transmit launch orders, move or prepare weapons, and fire them with a realistic chance of producing lethal effects? As long as the answer remains yes, the military problem remains unfinished. The regime has to fucking die.
Thank you, Jeffrey. And I have a quick update from our news. All American aircrafts in the Gulf turned off their transmissions. It was reported a few minutes ago in Channel 12. Okay, sorry. Next is Dajjal.
Thank you, Spirit. I agree with Jeffrey. The time for talk is over. They've killed our fucking soldiers. They're gonna keep killing them. And any further attempts at ceasefire will absolutely ensure that happens. There is absolutely no way we can do a ceasefire with these people now after this. None whatsoever. I don't give a fuck what J.D. Vance thinks about this. I don't care about whatever fucking deal he thinks this guy can make with these motherfuckers, because he don't want no trouble. I don't give a fuck. There's no deal to be had. You can't trust these fuckers. Jihadis cannot be reasoned with at all, under any circumstances. They have to be destroyed. They have to be decapitated. The regime must go. And anybody who disagrees with that can go fuck themselves. Simple as that. I don't give a shit. I really don't. Anybody saying that shit at this point now, they can suck it. I don't give a fuck. Fuck J.D. Vance, fuck the woke right, fuck the communist, fuck the Islamist, fuck the isolationist, fuck them all. Kill the Islamic Republic, kill the mullahs, kill them all. Period. No quarter. End of story. Kill them all.
Thank you, Dajjal.
For you to purposes, I'm going to say that this is about the wartime strategy that Joel is talking about, US's strategy in military against the Islamic Republic. That's what his opinions are.
Thank you, Armin. Bunny Nail.
Nail bunny.
Nail Bunny. Sorry.
No worries. So yeah, I want to echo a bit of what Texas Troop said, that I do believe that lefties will they'll use this as a cudgel with which to beat Trump and the administration with, and it will be masquerading as people who actually care about the troops, and which is, you know, disgusting, of course. And the thing is that when they do that, all it does is just show how out of touch they are with what people who are in the military actually feel and think. And I mean, my father was a U.S. Marine, but the rest of my family isn't in the military. They're all cops. But the one thing I can say from my dad, who fought in World War II, the thing that is interesting is that you'd think when you'd ask them why they joined up to fight, that their answer would be something like, to fight fascism, to prevent Hitler from taking over the world. And those are definitely reasons that were up there. But the first one that he always said, and he's not alone, I've heard it from all of them, at every interview I've ever seen with a veteran of World War II, that their first answer is revenge, which was always shocking to me, because it was like, really? That's the first one. Revenge for Pearl Harbor. That their brothers in arms were killed, and they want revenge. And so this idea that, oh, we should get out of there, and we should, all this stuff, you don't have any idea what the troops are actually thinking, because from my experience, what they're thinking is revenge. They can't let that stand. They can't allow that to just happen without any consequences. So that is what I think, and I will let Texas Troop, because I see she has another too. She can say if I'm wrong or not, and I will bow to her superior knowledge, because all I can say is from my dad.
Thank you, Neil Bunny. So I saw that Sapir had to go. Danny, are you here? Well, we'll say if Danny is here, I can see that the next person.
I'm here, but I can't mod.
Okay. So I think the next person is Raham.
Hi, everyone. Hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. Hi. Just first off, my condolences to the families of the fallen soldiers and all these other poor souls who have died because of these nut jobs. And what I wanted to really focus on is the leftists and anybody opposed to this military operation, for whatever reason, will use this as bullets in their gun to say, hey, we shouldn't be there. We need to get out. Look, they're killing our innocent. They're killing our people, and it basically just steelman their argument, just like JD Vance's nonsense. And I think it's our responsibility, or anyone's responsibility who has any type of voice, to highlight the fact that this regime and anybody who supports them will continue to kill Americans, will continue to kill Israelis, and will kill anybody and everybody who opposes them. That is their MO. That's what they do. That's how they operate. So this was only 2 soldiers today. It's going to be more and more and more and more. Donald Trump kept saying that they have killed so many American soldiers in the Iraq War, and people don't seem to really believe him or take him seriously. Well, I think it's really, really important that we become louder than those who will surely use what happened today as propaganda to try and end this conflict by keeping this regime in power. But it's imperative that we don't let this go, and make sure that it is known that they will not stop, because they won't stop. it's evident that they won't stop. So yeah, sucks, but I hope it leads to something positive. Thanks.
Thank you, Rahim. Monkey.
Yes, earlier I focused on Jordan and the Persian Gulf. That was a mistake. My apologies. I would like now to add other injuries and fatalities that have occurred. In Syria, 6 deaths, 4 injuries. In Iraq, 128 dead, 387 injured. And in Israel, 70 deaths, 9,241 injuries. I want to let that sink in because this isn't just about America, although we use this opportunity to stand by our brothers in arms and say, well, you see our loss, we see your losses. We are together against this IRGC menace. But I wanted to, first of all, apologize for errors in my query. Also, make sure I set the record straight on that. And there are many people being menaced by the IRGC.
Okay, Monkey, thank you. Texas.
Okay, so I did want to address a couple things that have been mentioned regarding the politics of this. But in the sense of, I wanted to give some suggestions, ideas on things that can be said to counter the narrative we're about to be bombarded with, right? So the narrative is going to be, how dare us be over there? How dare us be doing this? And we cannot sacrifice any more lives to this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So Neil Bunny did hit something on the head. And that was when she talked about with her father specifically, but other veterans that she has seen comment on why they joined for World War II, and that was revenge. And I think that our lovable monkey will 100% back me up on what I'm about to say. The idea of revenge for attacks on American citizens, on American soil, is 100% accurate. And it is true with every conflict, every war, everything we've ever had. The idea is, how dare they attack us? How dare they attack the United States of America? And it is a huge recruitment that happens after it. We've already seen it right now with the United States Navy. They recently hit their increased recruitment goal 3 months early. Again, I think a large part of that is because of what we're doing over there. Because Americans really want for America to be safe and secure. Americans don't like it when other countries target our country and target our people. And it is a massive motivator. So how this plays into the politics of it is that, the politicians, God bless their hearts, the politicians are going to say, the Democrat ones are going to say, oh, this is too costly. We can't do this. We need to pull our military out of there. And honestly, everyone can say this, not just Americans, but everyone can tell the politicians to shove it up their rear ends, because this is why our military exists. They volunteer. We have an all-volunteer service. No one is drafted in anymore. We have not had the draft since Vietnam. They are all volunteer. They all know that this is a possibility. Their family members know that this is a possibility. The American military does not serve the politician class. They do not serve the politicians. So this is why it is okay to tell a politician to shut it, because the American military does not serve the politician. They serve the American citizens. That is who they serve. They swear their oath to the Constitution. That is what they're protecting and defending. They follow the orders and the directions of the commander-in-chief. This is the hierarchy. It is volunteer. They know it. Their family members know it. No family member wants to get the knock on the door at 2 a.m. We deal with it when we get the knock on the door at 2 a.m., but we don't want it. But we know that this is how it works for us, that they serve us, the American people. They do not serve the politicians. And so the politicians need to stop using our military as political pawns. So that, I hope, may be hopeful for people. And again, not only Americans, our allies, whether you're Iranian, whether you're Israeli, whether you're, from one of the Arab countries, whomever you are in the world, if you are an ally of America, if you are in support of us being over there to rid the world of this cancer, you can say these things to American politicians. You really can. And to the stupid podcastistan people too. Please, please, please take them out and shut them up. Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Texas. Kathy.
First, I want to give my condolences of those soldiers we lost. Secondly, Texas, I can sympathize. After 9/11, I did have family members who joined the Marines to serve after 9/11, so I can understand how stressful it is worrying about them. Dejal, I do agree with you. I read your message in the side chat, and yes, we do need revenge. Fuck the IRGC.
Thank you, Kathy. Helda?
Aldo?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This is sort of in response to Texas because, I have this conversation with my family at least once a week, I swear. And I agree with you that politicians should not use this as any sort of bargaining chip. I mean, it shouldn't even be in the realm of their discussion as far as I'm concerned. But we know that just is not how American politics work. But in regard to the left, and those of you who know me in my work situation know that I deal with this at work too, very, 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 very far right, or far left, I'm sorry. What I hear, and I can, because I had this discussion with my family before we even knew that some soldiers had died, was their response is, that the regime is fully within their rights to strike back because we are striking them. So they feel that the regime has the right to retaliate because we started it. And, obviously I've provided as much material as I possibly can, but it is something that I think that we should prepare ourselves for in the event that we have these conversations. And that's it.
Thank you. George, welcome. This is your time to respond. I just want to remind that when Ahmad writes down that the list is closed, then the list is closed. Thank you.
Yes, George, we can hear you, and welcome to our group. Welcome to this section, at least.
Thank you. I want to support Jeffrey and Monkey and all the others that are touting the revenge factor, and I totally agree with it. But I want to give you a word of caution. I was one of the last. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Go on. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
You can go on.
I was one of the last. I was one of the last conscripts in 1972 to enter the Vietnam War draft. And then I spent 9 years in uniform after that. The emotional response to with revenge is exactly what caused us to fail in that Vietnam era. And so I just want to give a little bit of caution to that emotional response. We have a deliberate mission ahead of us. And the president has stated removal of the nuclear materials. And we all have there's an unspoken or another mission of freeing Iran. That is not our primary military mission, though. The objective must be maintained, focused on. Revenge is not the objective. So it is a terrible thing that people lose their lives in these missions. But at the same time, if we implode because of a revenge factor, it cannot end well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, George, and welcome to the group. Now super chats.
Oh, okay. Well, we got 2 super chats. One is actually a membership gift from Amir. Thank you so much, Amir. 5 membership gifts, always supporting us. Thank you for your continued support. And then we got Sayed with a super chat saying, "My deepest condolences to the families of fallen heroes." Man with a candle. Thank you, Sayed. Appreciate that.
My name is Armin Navabi. I'm an Iranian political analyst with decades of experience fighting the Islamic regime inside and outside of Iran. Make sure you follow me for more, and also make sure you join our discussion group. I'm there almost every single day. Come talk to me there and the rest of the people there in our group calls. It's a great place to meet and talk to people who like talking about politics. The link is in the description and or in the bio. You could also get there by scanning the QR code on the screen. See you there.